I am Sidero Pettis, principal of Earle STEM Academy, and I'd like for our team to introduce themselves.
Tanya Sims, first grade teacher.
Angela Flores Garcia, fifth grade teacher.
Good morning, I'm Paulette Grissett, the assistant principal.
Tashina Finley, STEM instructional specialist.
Good morning, Lavinia Morgan, STEM instructional specialist.
Okay, now I'll share my screen. Sorry about that. Now let's get started. Okay, so we would like
the mayor said about rainfall on both islands.
Excuse me. Yeah. Excuse me. Let's get all the way back and let's get started. Okay, so hello all. Thank you very much for joining us. We are Team Earle STEM Academy. We decided to use the design challenge to address the serious issue that we had at Earle STEM Academy and us returning back from the pandemic. It was related to increasing student attendance. So we look at every possible problem as an opportunity. And so we came together and said, how can we look at this, this issue that we have that we've been seeing on a weekly basis in our IoT team meetings, utilizing our network tools to track attendance. And then we've also been looking at in our teacher team meetings, how can we address this issue that we're seeing? So we said we have a great opportunity to address the academic and the social emotional developmental needs of our scholars. How do we do that? Oh, by going through all our empathy, utilizing the tools from the empathy measures that we had, we found out it's just implementing our curriculum with fidelity, aligning our work to standard-based real-world experiences, and then allowing our students to be able to work collaboratively and coming up with creative solutions to real-world problems. And we're going to do that collaboratively and in a team setting. The theory of change. So we at Earle STEM, again, we notice our 5th and our 6th grade DL students. So the DL students is the priority group that we decided to focus on. As I mentioned before, weekly, we look at the on-track index, and we noticed that many of our scholars, specifically our DL students, were below the 85% threshold. That's important because students who are below 85% in attendance can never be on track. They will be destined to be off track for the duration of their time in school. So to help them move above the 85% and thus get on track, what do? Well, that's when we engaged in various activities to find out what our scholars thought were interesting and what our teachers thought was interesting and what our parents thought was interesting that would bring about a sense of engagement. And that engagement was to focus on providing access to high quality, grade level content and to create this aspiration to serve our priority user group, which is our DL students. So again, here's the empathy data. And this is what we found out. We found out that, again, our DL students wanted lessons that were hands-on. They wanted to be collaborative. They wanted to have lessons to be real world. And the fact of the matter is that we were coming out of a pandemic, and Earle STEM, we were really focused on just being safe. So we were a very sterile and boring school. And that showed in our students' level of engagement. The students also said that they wanted to be able to work with one another because, and this was really unique. This came from one student, a diverse learner. He said one student may know certain things that another student may not know, but another student may have a strength in another area that the other student doesn't have. And by combining together, they can formulate a dynamic team. The teacher said they wanted to plan, they wanted more time. Teacher said, we need more time. But in that time, we need to be able to plan and pull in the student's voice. We need to be able to tailor our lessons in such a way that it provides multiple ways to access the learning, but then also it gives them multiple ways to demonstrate their mastery of the content. STEM, activity-based learning activities, it provides that. Additionally, the students or the teachers stated that they would like to have ongoing coaching support, and that would come in the form of our STEM instructional specialists. They wanted assistance in coordinating the use of instructional materials, technologies with standard aligned learning objectives. So at this time, what we would like to do is give you an opportunity to listen to one of our outstanding teachers as she pulled her parents together to get some insight from them. And this, by the way, happened after school. So take a listen.
There's a question or a problem that it's a real life problem that a community is having, that scientists are
Edison needs to go to 102
to make daily life for people or animals easier, right? And so it's good that there's some, otherwise they wouldn't be learning. So if we ask this question and right away everyone in my class could tell me why this is happening, then there wouldn't be no point in teaching the unit, you know? So what happens is every lesson they get a little bit more information than they have previously, and then they're expanding on these scientific explanations in order to then hopefully by the end of their unit be able to actually answer the question for the people of East and West Ferris.
So again, you get a little bit about what that was, just a snippet from Ms. Garcia extended day parent training program. So that gave us a little insight concerning the parents, and what they said is, hey, their kids are extremely excited about going to Mrs. Garcia's class. They get to talk, they get to collaborate with one another, and you're gonna see the results of that in the data. So,
as you can see, this is East Ferris has nothing on the edge to experience and work in effectively. East Ferris has a groundwater reservoir. West Ferris has surface reservoir. So this is the reason East Ferris is running out of water, because when the water flows in.
All right, Earle, thank you so much. We are now in your Q&A time. Judges?
I guess I'd like to hear from a teacher or two how this project has changed what you're doing in the classroom, or how you're hoping it will change in as specific a way as possible. Something you were doing versus something you will be doing or are doing now.
So just overall, our fifth grade students hadn't had a teacher, and I was placed up here for the last a little over a month now, and their attendance was really bad. So we first started focusing on Amplify Science because via the empathy surveys, that was the most the tangible item that we could provide our students that was hands-on. That matriculated into our literary text, just aligning those two. We're reading A Long Walk to Water with the students. So what's been happening now, because they have access to the hands-on curriculums and via this parent involvement piece, the attendance has skyrocketed, especially for our diverse learning students. I believe it went from the low 80 percentile, high 70 percentile to now we have 100% attendance for multiple weeks now for our diverse learning students. So you can just see in the numbers with these engaging lessons, our kids are showing up to school now.
How do you define diverse learner? Is that somebody that's academically not doing well, or is it IEP or?
Yeah, it's our students who have IEPs.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about how you would use the funds?
So yes, So there are other components of the process that we've yet to implement. One being that we plan to have a student exposition where we'll give the students the opportunities to invite parents, community members to a forum, and they will be able to display the learning that they've accumulated over this period of time. Not only that, we will also have our parents come in and be a part of that. There will also be an awards program that will be associated with it, where we'll have trophies, we'll have plaque certificates, as well as t-shirts that we'll give to all the participants. The other piece is we heard in our empathy data that our teachers want time to plan with the instructional specialists. So we will utilize extended day so that we can give the teachers the support that they need to plan lessons and support them in implementing the lessons.
And how will you know that this has all been successful?
So the data speaks for itself. We've had partial success. So we had great success with our 5th grade. And you see the results from the teacher here. You see the parents involved. You see the students involved. You see attendance increasing. There's also GPA data that has increased. There's also science grade data that has increased. So we see that this is successful. What we have as a network and as a school is a 5-week learning cycle. And what we're saying is if we maintain and adhere to that learning cycle and just utilize it with the curriculum that we have, that we'll get the end results that we're seeking. And so now we're looking to take this to scale. This is with our 5th and 6th grade students. We want to slowly move this up and out to encompass all grade levels.
I guess, you know, is there anything else that you all want to say in your remaining 30 seconds? Or add?
I would just like to add that since our focus was our diverse learner students, that one of the other ways to measure would be just the smiles on their faces and the excitement, because we're a school that prides ourselves on inclusion and more inclusion. So the more they feel comfortable in those general ed environments with those teachers and more like a team, then I think the overall excitement will lend itself to greater attendance and greater GPAs, which we're seeing.